All right, so welcome back to another Aligned Strategy session. I am super excited for my guest today. These sessions are really designed to talk to just different business owners and take a peek behind the curtain in terms of how an alignment might work in different situations and for different people and what that looks like and feels like. So today, I am here with Tina Faye Schwann, and I'm super excited to have her and talk to her about her journey. As I do these, I look at human designs beforehand, and actually Tina and I have some similarities. So it's really fun to kind of look and listen and hear somebody's design with similarities for one path versus another. So that's kind of fun to do. So Tina, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Brea. I'm so excited about this. It's gonna be
Yeah,
fun.
me too. And we've known each other for a little while now.
hmm
And today we're going to be talking about your business journey, starting in more the personal style world and then kind of shifting a little bit broader beyond that. So, do you just want to give us a quick intro of who you are and what you do?
Sure, absolutely. Well, again, I'm Tina Schwann. I now identify as a keynote speaker. So I do speaking on leadership presence, also do workshops and one-on-one client work on leadership presence. So Brea mentioned that I come from the world of personal styling, and I realized at the beginning of this year that I felt a little bit boxed in by just personal styling, that my background in corporate for 22 years and then in vocal music teaching and being on the stage for many, many years, that I have a lot more to offer and to be able to help people with their presence. So not just what you wear and your visual piece of how you dress, how you look, your hygiene, but also how do you move through life? Like, how do you enter a room? What's your poise look like? Whatever that means, posture, poise, those sorts of things. And then communication is a big piece of it too. So both verbal and written communication, as well as your environment, including the people that you surround yourself with, right? We have all heard about the top 5. And so all of those pieces go into your executive or leadership presence. And we're all leaders in one way or another. So it's very helpful for people to tap into these things that maybe you don't think about on a regular basis, that help you in how you show up and help in how memorable you are for people for the next whatever's happening in your personal or professional life.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Something that popped out when you were just talking, as I now am like digesting your chart, is super cool. So, one of your superpowers, Tina, is to essentially like take your life experience and kind of think about it in a way, in almost like in a storytelling way. You use your voice in terms of like putting all the puzzle pieces together of all the things that you've been through, all of your life experiences, and putting it in this really beautiful way that can help the collective. So
Mm.
it's so interesting to hear you talk about it in a way like your corporate experience, your vocal teaching experience, and you using all of those experiences all jumbled into one, and then like pushing it out into the world in this new way, which is really helping people understand how to full up or show up fully as
Yeah.
themselves. It's super interesting.
Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I love it. And I always say, like, when we look at human design, it's not like this is your human design and this is just who you're going to be. It's like, no, that's like we have a part in it. It's not like magically this is going to happen. So these are just pieces of evidence that you are stepping into this highest frequency of yourself, which is really, really neat. One of the things we talked about was we talked about the shift and what that looks like, but I asked you what prompted the shift. Can you share that?
Yeah. A couple of things. First off, I went to a workshop at the beginning of the year, as many people do. Kind of January is a good time for a reset, whether you call it your intentions or whatever you want to call it. And I went to a workshop and put on by Jody Crimusa, a good friend of mine who I've done some business coaching with. And we just worked, it was a 4-hour workshop. We worked through some questions. And in that series of questions, it brought to light in me the fact that I actually prefer working with groups than individuals. I love working with individuals, don't get me wrong, but I prefer working in a group setting, which oddly, as a choral conductor, a music person, the same is true. I've always I love working with choirs in particular, not so much individual voice lessons. So I feel like that is just kind of part of who I am. And then the second thing was that I was honored and blessed with an opportunity to speak at the YP, the Young Professionals Summit through the Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce. And as part of that process of writing that breakout speech, which really is more of a keynote, it was a long speech for a large audience. The same thing started to come to light through that creative process of writing that speech was, yes, I love working with groups of people, large groups of people. And also that kind of was what brought in all these other pieces of leadership presence beyond just personal style. Personal style is a piece of it, but as I explained earlier, there's so many other things that go into it. So that was what caused kind of the shift to working more with groups and then speaking as the primary vehicle to get that message out and get that empowerment of other professionals out there.
Yeah, some self-awareness, but also like somebody. Okay, let me point something else out about your chart, which is really fun, right? Okay, so you're a 6'2" profile. That's what I am too. So there's these two parts of the chart, which is one is more conscious, what we are aware of, and the other is unconscious, what we're not aware of. And for the unconscious piece, it's a little bit harder for us to grasp, and because it's unconscious. So for you, I think your gift of speaking and presence, a lot of times we don't understand our own natural gifts until someone points them out. So I think you being volunteered for that spot, I don't know if you're voluntold uh, or what, but you having the opportunity to be a speaker and then you going in and really feeling what that felt like, and then you taking that to the next level, that's all on you. But somebody recognizing your gift before you do, in a way, because you've always done it, when you're teaching choir. I mean, all of those people can feel your presence and you, but that just, to you, it just feels like you.
Yes.
You don't know it's a gift.
Yes.
Right. So I think that's really cool. I think a part of the journey in terms of alignment of recognizing that sometimes you don't know exactly what you're good at until somebody else points it out or puts you in an opportunity.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you felt like like when you think back and reflect, and I think you kind of alluded to this already, but like putting yourself in group situations and facilitating and speaking, like your background, like, can you now see that that's kind of where you have felt most aligned, or did that come more as you matured?
A- Absolutely. I feel that's where I'm most aligned, but I feel like sometimes when we're in a transition, such as I left my teaching world 4 years ago now, and was a little bit, I felt like I'd lost my groundedness because that was such a huge part of my personality and my identity was I am a music teacher. I am a choral conductor. That was who I was. It's one of those types of careers that isn't just your job, it's who you are. And so I think that then deciding to be a personal stylist was a good fit for the skill set that I had. But it was that reality of feeling more in my skin on oddly on a stage or in front of a group than I feel working one-on-one with people was kind of another epiphany for me, because I knew that about myself with the music world, but I did not transfer that knowledge and that feeling until I was on that stage giving that speech. I was like, oh, I'm back home again in my heart, in the way I felt. And that was, and I have to also give credit to Leah Baez, who through the Omaha Women's Network Inner Circle, she had done our training on being a speaker. And she is really the one who saw that in me, I think, and was like, you need to go apply for this speaking gig. And I was like, why would they want me? Honestly, that was what went through my head. And she's like, just apply. And then she helped me through the process as well of interviewing and just the whole process of putting it together. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's so cool. Like that gives me goosebumps. Like you just feeling like you're at home, like on the stage. It's
yeah.
so interesting. And like her just being instrumental in terms of, again, being the one to recognize what others can see so clearly what you're so good at. But it's so hard,
Mhm.
probably especially for women, for us to
Yes.
recognize what we're good at and what's like, it just feels natural. So it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And that's the difference too. So it's so interesting. Like another thing that just showed up in your chart, one of your other gifts, really is to when you talk about power in your presence, like
Hmm.
you have that. So you have this special ability to almost instantly gauge your audience in a way that you can adjust really quickly in terms of figuring out what their openness in the environment and what they need to hear.
Mm.
Do you feel that at all? Like, have you, when you're kind of stepping into a room or talking to people, do you get a sense of what you can or should, or what kind of angle to go at?
That's interesting. I've never thought about it, to be honest with you, but yes, I do. And I think uh part of that is I mean, it's kind of nature versus nurture, right? But I think part of that is probably natural, but then part of it is a product of the experience that I've had in my whole life. And so it's always been, I feel like, as a musician, as a choral conductor, which is kind of a unique piece of the music world, that you have to be able to think on the fly and go with what's happening. So as much as you can make a plan, and once you step in front of those people, whether it's an audience or whether it's a choir or a classroom, you have to be able to adapt to whatever is happening in front of you, and make sure that I know what my message is when I'm speaking, but I don't necessarily know exactly how it's going to come out, if that makes sense. So you can
Yeah,
rehearse and
you don't really
practice and all the things, and then you get in front of that crowd. And if it's a group of young professionals like at the YP, I was so comfortable in front of those people because I had taught high school. And they weren't that far. I mean, they're much more mature than high school kids, let's put it that way. But they were young. They were young, like fresh out of college, new professionals. And I just felt like in the zone, and I had no plan to walk out into the audience. And I just did it because it just felt right. So, you just never know. Yeah. And sometimes when I've worked with, smaller groups or in workshops, things just happen, and you just have to be able to, I think, pivot within that moment, or really listen and be in tune with what they need, what their needs are. It's not about so much about what am I going to say? It's about what they need, and how am I going to fill that need with whatever knowledge or expertise I might have, if that
yeah,
makes
what they
sense.
need to, yep, you're tweaking it to what they need to hear for the
Yeah.
impact to be the greatest it can be. Yeah, and
Hmm.
that's one of the things in your chart that you're really really good at. So that works out well. And then weaving into the experience, like So it's interesting. You and I are both 6'2" profiles. So that's really all about kind of these three phases of life and experiencing life kind of in a messy way and then gaining more experience with it and then really turning that into wisdom that people come to you for.
Yeah.
Um, and that's so again, you going back to weaving your experiences in a way that is really, really impactful just by your presence alone. And then
Mm.
you have the gift of communication. So that just adds to it. But it's also super interesting. Like you talk about going, you jumping into the entrepreneurship world and realizing like not translating your corporate world in a way, you went to one-on-one work and then you're like, oh wait, that doesn't translate. I did the exact opposite. So I did the same thing where like I know I do better in one-on-one work,
Mm.
but I jumped into group work and then went into one-on-one work and felt the same thing you did on the other side, like, oh, this feels good.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting. So like we have the same profiles, but there's differences in terms of all the other stuff that's in there that kind of lends to that kind of stuff. And then again, paying attention. I mean, we have a job to pay attention to the
Yes.
alignment and what it feels like. So I guess what would you say to somebody who is jumping off on their own and trying to figure all this out in terms of alignment and doing things that seems to feel like they're paddling downstream instead of up?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because sometimes when you're in it and you're not really realizing like how your body's reaction is, but I feel like your nervous system is reacting. Like oddly, I don't really get nervous when I'm going out to speak or do a workshop type thing, but I do get nervous when I have a one-on-one styling appointment, which is not like I can't work through that, but it's just, I think the way you just need to be attentive to what your body is trying to tell you. Um, and if you're not super comfortable, maybe there is just a small pivot that you need to make. But in my case, it was really just having someone ask the right question. In that workshop, it was like,
Oh,
oh, and it was really a light bulb moment of this could be so much better.
yeah, for
Maybe
sure. Sometimes
I
we need that outside perspective or a question to just prompt it. And it's just like, oh, and it's always right here. It's always all
Yes.
within us, but we just sometimes need a little kick
Yeah.
in the pants to get there.
Yeah.
For sure. It is interesting too, like you brought up. It's like understanding or recognizing the difference between something we need to work through to develop more professionally versus like getting out because it's just not aligned.
Hmm.
There's a difference, right? And I think that just comes with time.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said too about um, the people that you surround yourself with as well. Because I've been on a journey, I feel like for the last 4 years as an entrepreneur, where sometimes you'll find yourself in a group that feels right at first, and then suddenly you realize it's not quite right. And you just, again, you have to be attentive to what you're feeling and you're thinking and what your body's telling you as well. Because sometimes, and then I'm one of those people that I'm almost loyal to a fault. So I'll just stick
Mhm.
around because I have,
Mhm.
and then it's like, wait a minute, this is
Yeah,
detrimental to where I'm going. So there's
100%.
kind of learning to let some of those things go. And then you can feel it when you're in with the right group of people, like I was talking about earlier, your top five or whatever you want to call it. Those are the people that are going to see those gifts in you and help you hone those gifts and maybe ask those right questions, whether it's a coach or whether it's just a friend or even a family member. I think that's so important as well. So
100%. Yeah, I need to pay attention to the conversations that are leaving you drained versus energized. Those
Yes.
are the ones to pay attention to versus drop. But you're right too. It's like we are very good at just getting complacent and just staying with groups or people just because that's the way it is.
Hmm.
So good reminder to just almost do an audit at some point and be like, is this still serving me, or was that for where I was then and that was okay, but now it's time. And it doesn't mean that was wrong. It's just that season is over
Hmm.
and it's time, it's a growth, right? It's just the way it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have also found it really interesting um, to hear unsolicited feedback from people. This morning, I was just talking to my daughter who lives in Europe for the time being. Anyway, she called me via FaceTime and she said, I was talking to this friend of ours in Lincoln, and she goes, it was crazy. He was like, because she's an overthinker, and and anyway, he said, he goes, why don't you learn from your mom, meaning me? Like, she just does whatever the hell she wants, and she let her hair go gray, and she just embraced the crap out of it. It's like, it's so weird that, there's people out there watching and you have no idea that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I did kind of embrace that and just go with it. But I don't think of myself in those terms. But when you do
Yeah.
find where you're aligned, you kind of take off, I feel like, whereas other times you feel like you're walking through the mud trying to get to where you're going.
Oh, that's a super point for sure. And it
Yeah.
feels so natural in you. And then you don't even know that you are just what you're doing just naturally just inspires and is being noticed by people
Yeah.
in an awesome way. That's cool. That's really cool. You're like, wait, what? Yeah,
I know.
that's neat. Yeah, that's proof. I feel like you're exactly on the right path.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Really
Um,
nice.
so when we talked, I asked you what something was that you're working through right now, and essentially what you said is juggling everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
I want to do all the things.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, that looks fun, and that looks fun, and this sounds cool, and this sounds cool. And so I think it's been, again, a process of um, honing in on what do I want to do. Um, and I am clearly in the third act of my life and of my career. And so I think that's maybe part of it, is I feel this limited time of being able to do what I want to do. So then I try to do too many things. But what I've learned is then you can't do anything well when you do that. So I've really honed in on, this is my path. I've got my personal business where I'm speaking, workshops, some styling. But then I also have a partnership with my friend Jody that we've just started, that's called The Power in Your Presence. We're also doing speaking, workshops, and individual work, but both are more corporate focused than individual focused. So I feel like those two things are very aligned, but they're just two separate pieces of kind of the same pie, or whatever you want to call it. And when
Yeah,
other things come at me, because once you have some visibility, and I know you have the same thing, then all of a sudden you get a lot of people who maybe want to collaborate with you, or have you do something, that isn't necessarily aligned with where you're going. And so I have to learn to be very discerning about, is this really moving me forward to where I want to go and where I want to serve? Or is this something outside of that? And if it's outside of that, then I probably need to say no.
I know
But
it's hard.
doing it is
It's
hard.
hard. It's hard to say no when it all sounds so cool.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure too. Yeah. So your energy type is so interesting to me. So in human design, you have what is called a manifester energy. I don't know how familiar you are with it, but it's actually not very many people have it. It's 9%. of the population. I'm pretty familiar because my wife is one. So I've
Mm,
studied it pretty
yeah.
deeply. But it's an interesting one because, and you'll tell me if this resonates with you or not. It's kind of a
Mhm,
bursty energy where if you are super interested in something, you can kind of like get this burst of energy and just like go, 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 go. But then
mhm.
when you're done, you're just kind of done. It's like you need a lot of rest.
Mhm.
Like a lot of times, you might need a nap more than other people, or just like you just need downtime or to schedule downtime,
Mhm.
things like that. Does that resonate with you at all?
100% resonates with me because once I get an idea, I'm obsessed with that
Mhm.
idea for a while, and I will just work my tail off to do whatever needs to be done to a fault, almost to the exclusion of everything else. But then you're right, because I am an introvert by nature, which nobody ever thinks of me in that way, but I am. And so, yes, I need that rest as well. And that, but I'll go and go and go until I just can't go anymore. And then it's like a 2 hour nap.
Yeah, right.
Whereas
Yes. So
my husband is the opposite. He can take a little 10-minute nap in the afternoon and he's good to go for the rest of the day. Whereas I'm like, oh no, if I lay down,
you're
it's
out. Yep. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, and I think something important for you to recognize is like you need that for the rest of your creative energy to shine. So like don't
Mhm.
ever feel like bad about taking that 2-hour nap,
Yeah.
or just taking a day to just, you know what, today's just
Mhm.
not a day.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in this space where you're trying to juggle or feel like you're juggling all these things. It's like really honoring that rest cycle, knowing that it bursts the rest of the productivity of
Mm.
the rest of it's kind of interesting. Um,
Mhm.
I think it's really nice for manifestors to hear that, because the rest of the
Yeah,
world just kind of like goes, goes, goes. And it's like you're not designed to do that.
that's interesting. Yeah.
And then the other piece of the manifestor piece I think is so interesting is what's very effective is understanding that you are there to get the idea out, but you don't need to necessarily see all the details through.
Mm.
So like even if you're still interested in the overall arching idea of whatever lane you're in, and that
Yeah.
doesn't go away, but not feeling the responsibility of knocking out all the details. So this could mean, in the business world, maybe you need a VA to do the
Mm.
detail stuff. Like maybe you need to delegate or not do some of this stuff because that's just not the way your energy is. You're more of like, this is the idea, it's really cool, get it out into the world, and then kind of step back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a good message for me
Yeah.
because I do
Give
struggle.
yourself permission.
Yeah, you want
Yeah.
to, yeah, I want to do it all, but then, like I said, it does get exhausting. And honestly, um, it's a great point because you have to realize where your zone of genius is, or whatever you want to call it, your superpower. So if mine is to have the big idea and thrust it into the world, then let someone else who is better at those daily tasks or whatever it is do those things, which I have I am still learning that. I feel like I had a VA for a while, but she was full time and I was struggling to keep up with enough work for her. I felt like I was working to find work for her to do. But now I do have a part-time VA, and it's really is so helpful to just have someone who can be like, "Oh yeah, I can schedule all the social media or whatever it is that needs to happen," is really such a gift as well. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes that's a good reminder, and just to give permission to ourselves. Like that's
Yeah.
not only is it okay, it's like that is what's going to propel you forward in a better way,
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
sure. So,
Yeah.
well, this has been fantastic. This has been a super fun conversation. Like, yeah, thank you
Awesome.
for doing this. Thanks for taking
Oh,
the time. I
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
It's my
Uh,
pleasure.
where can people find out more about you and what you're doing?
Great. Well, yeah, thank you for asking that. My website is called Real Style Real Life. So it's all together, realstylereallife.com. And I'm on all the things as Tina Faye Schwann. So Facebook, Instagram, you'll find me at Tina Faye Schwann. And then the newest endeavor with Jody is called The Power in Your Presence. And you can find us on LinkedIn under The Power in Your Presence. And that's also our website name too. So we actually have a lunch and learn coming up July 29th through the Omaha Women's Network. So you can find that on our website as well under events. So yeah.
That's awesome. All right. I'll include all the links and all the things. People can just click away. I'm super excited for that endeavor for the both of you. That's really, really powerful and impactful. So that's neat.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you, Tina.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.